Hi, I'm Sydney Robertson.
And I'm Amy Kiernan.
And Reinventing the Algorithm is our invitation to you to reimagine work and life with intention, purpose, and a sense of freedom.
Together, we're going to explore what it means to show up as our true selves. And so this is for anyone that's ready to create a more meaningful, fulfilling journey on your own terms.
For women listening to this podcast.
Yes.
Or allies, obviously, as well.
Yes.
For someone that wants to get into a value-driven kind of organization, like what are some steps you'd say for them to take? Whether it's them leaving the corporate world to do it like you have full-time, or whether it's they're still in their corporate role and want to get involved with
Yes, and get involved. I mean, I think either way, the first step is to get involved into any kinds of issues that you feel passionate about. You need to find what is your cause, what you feel strongly about. It might be because of a personal story, a personal experience, or just because you feel very passionate about the thing. I think there are lots of causes right now, obviously, with what's going on in the world. But this is more than ever a moment to step it up, really. I'm constantly waiting for everybody just to step it up, because it's crucial. We can't just let it just all happen as we are. So choose your cause and then lean into it, and it could be just by helping another nonprofit charity organization, whatever, just by following, talking about it. That's just literally. We always say when we ask what can you do, we're just even happy. Tell one person about it, have a conversation about the subject, the things. So just it's a snowball effect, right? Just start somewhere. So for entrepreneurs, either way, if you start part-time, full-time, whatever you want to do, is find something you feel really passionate about, and then find your allies.
Find your tribe.
Find your tribe to go with it. And then everything becomes a lot more easy. You don't have to do it all alone. But the allies are hugely important. And actually, I also now found a lot of men who have become really strong allies. Yeah. And that has been incredibly inspiring and wonderful to see, because we know that we can't solve issues on our own, right?
So great.
Exactly.
Yes, we've been privileged with the men that are in our lives.
Honestly, and we had our Empower Her event last week in Toronto, and it was on Own Your Health, Own Your Power, and it was a lot to do with women's issues with their reproductive issues and around perimenopause and just the downfalls of our medical system and where women are really having issues. And it's interesting because we also believe in allyship with Empower Her, and we did have a few men there as well. And one of them was this man came up and he bought a few tickets and he came to say hello. And I said, thank you for being an ally. And he said, well, are you kidding me? I have a daughter. I have a wife. Like, it's so important for me to understand what you have to deal with, right? And I know
he's empathetic. Clearly.
He's empathetic, absolutely. And I feel like you have some of your jurors are men, and so question on that then, like, how from their lens, like, how do they react to the content, and how do they? Are they looking at it more from a artistic perspective of the actual filmmaking, or just some examples anecdotally of like how they react to the content?
The majors we had so far actually come from the social sector, so they are already involved and allies in the deepest sense. Our biggest ally is Equimundo, a men's organization promoting healthy manhood and doing incredible work on the ground and on also a larger scale. So you're already talking with the same, but it's wonderful to see, obviously, yes. Yeah. So I think their perspective is almost the same as ours. There are a few differences, and the differences is probably because we talk with a lot of men. There's a little bit of, not resistance, but it's difficult to always see men portrayed as perpetrators, right? You've always have the negative, right? And I think it's finding those stories, which occasionally we had, and they really responded to, is when there is a positive example of a male ally within a situation, somebody who helped the girl or the woman, who spoke up, who in somehow participated as an ally. And I think because you want to give positive role models. I think that's where it's changing, and you see with what's going on in the world, the rise of misogyny yet again, and so I feel it's about setting some really positive role models out there, so that the younger generation or men in general can see a different kind of path, and in a positive path. Yeah.
I agree, because I feel like if you go swing, we talk with the pendulum swing, right? If you go too far one way, and it's going to come back the other way stronger, Like I think we saw a lot of that with the DI movement, right?
Exactly.
And then you find people then just go a lot, very severely the other way again, right? So I guess that's probably how you're looking at it, right? Where you're just trying to be as inclusive as possible. I mean, we're not here to hate men. We're just trying to create awareness around issues that involve women and, obviously gender-based violence, but I mean, men are impacted as well.
Exactly, in many different ways. And it's about that conversation. It's about listening to each other and talking to each other. And I think from the events that we have seen and have done, there are two parts. One is when people watch the film, the few minutes can have such a profound impact because you feel the empathy, right? We know the statistics are clear. 1 in 3 women will at some point during their lifetime suffer from some sort of abuse. So we are 3 of us, 1 of us, probably it happened already or it will happen, which is crazy. So it's different though for people to think, 1 in 3, but if they see one short film, a few minutes, and just get into that mindset and feel the feelings of that person, it can change really dramatically. It's empathy, right? And identifying with that person, and then there's a reaction. You want to do something about it. You want to help, and so that's also for both men and women equally. So after, when we have screenings, etc., it's the magic happens afterwards in the conversations. We have all these different people, all these different audiences, and you know it because you've been there last year.
Yes.
And then you feel you need to share how you felt about it, and that some people react differently to others. There are also a lot of gray areas and nuances, etc., right? Especially, for instance, around consent. There can be, it can be quite tricky to see that. But I think that's what's interesting, because we need to talk about it.
Yeah, we have to use our language. We have to understand.
Absolutely.
We have to articulate.
Yeah. And one other thing I know, that talking to Johanna, we've had a few calls together, and I love what she's really enforcing with the education piece of it all. So do you want to talk a little bit about how you're taking this as a model and then bringing it to the film schools and as education for women?
Yes. I mean, we offer it already almost to everybody. Basically, we also have it's on through our website, screening sexual violence. So there are a certain number of films that we keep on all year long, that with resources that can help educate. It's an educational tool for filmmakers as well, intimacy coordinators, etc.
That's really big right now, right? Do you know what that is, Amy?
No.
Do you want to explain a bit about intimacy coordinators?
So basically, during films, right, during film is so to make women and men feel comfortable in situations that have anything to do with abuse or sexual nature, etc. So you need to protect and educate, etc. So there are people who know how to do it, but obviously for smaller productions, maybe they can't afford somebody and stuff. Film is sort of sometimes a very small budget enterprise. So we offer also certain tools, right? Watch the films, get things. You can read more about this is how it works. So this is one, but this is something we want to obviously expand even more. And then it's the NGOs that are using our films as well as educational tool, because they can go also on the ground and show people, and again use that of conversation starter, or simply it explains an issue much quicker and much more profoundly, really, than any textbook or anything.
The power
else.
of art, I guess.
Yes.
The power of film, yes. It's
Storytelling.
Absolutely.
That's kind of where it is. Yeah, so we've done as well parliamentary screenings and university screenings.
Policies, haven't you?
Yes,
You mentioned to me something about you'd gone to Parliament with some and you asked us about active policies.
Exactly, because we had one film called My Blonde GF by Rosie Morris, and it's about deep fake porn. And there obviously still a lot needs to be done to protect women from it. So it's a policy changer. Again, so we use these films.
We were also talking about this yesterday as well. This is a very weird, it's a huge issue right now here, especially too, with these, teenagers fiddling around with AI now. You put someone's head on something else, and someone else, and cause major trauma.
And that short film is exactly that. It happened to a woman she didn't even know. Like a neighbor told, like, "Oh my God, she's watched." And then it talks. You never see anything, but she talks about how it made her feel and the repercussions, because it's in your mind. That image is now in your mind. You can't, and it's just so. And there's not enough. Again, education. I think we come back to. Where the change needs to happen, right? And it's all across. It's a systematic societal change, a mindset change. It is changing minds of people around us, but it's also police need to be educated. Schools need to be educated. Lawyers, the justice system, right? Because they are confronted, and we have a little bit more vocabulary now than we probably had a lot of years ago now to use these things, which is already critical and great, but we didn't catch up yet with all the policies and the laws and etc. So I think that's another thing. But in order to do that, is you start with raising awareness.
Everything comes back to awareness.
Yes.
Doesn't it?
Get people to talk about, get it then at some point into the media, into the parliament, and try and make a difference.
I always love things in threes, so I just want to put out there.
Go ahead.
If we were to sit down here same day next year, Gentleman's Day next year, what are 3 things you would love to have accomplished within the year for 16 Days, 16 Films?
Funding.
Yes.
Funding. The most critical part for us to keep going is, and people probably don't realize how much it takes to do such a thing. And we have so much wonderful support from people, and everybody is like, "Oh, this is amazing. This is so crucial. This is so important." But then it's the next step, right? We need then also the funds to make it all reality. So I think is finding enough partners, sponsors, collaborators who can help with the funding, because we have big ambitions, right? So with the funding, then I'd like to go global. We'd love to go global. We would love to do a lot more screenings again. So in a year's time, I'd like to have mapped out a calendar of wonderful screenings across the globe with events like we would do in different countries, and then get it more to the ground as well. University screenings and things, so sort of get really grassroots as well. So top level funding, great partners and events to raise awareness, and then the grassroots.
And expansion.
And expansion.
So you are in 10 countries right now.
Yes.
Is there a goal for this time next year in terms of the number of countries you want to be in?
Well,
we're obviously Canada, so we have
we definitely said Canada. We want to go more east as well. So obviously, which we are not representative as well in Africa. We only have Nigeria yet, but so there are some countries we'd like to include. But the idea is if we could just jump straight into global in terms of accepting films from all across the world, but maybe spotlighting a certain region or certain country each year. That is maybe new or needs special attention because things are happening in that country politically.
Give them Jewish funding, yes. Exactly. But when you get your funding, then you can direct it to where it's needed.
Exactly, correct.
Yes.
Listening to you and hearing your passion about this, and the journey that you've had, similar to ourselves, moving from the corporate world into entrepreneurship and all that comes with it, I'd love to know if you were to maybe describe what you've learned about yourself as a result of that journey. Would you like to share that with us?
Sure, absolutely. I think that's actually a very great question and so interesting, because you learn it's actually, I was very surprised by myself. Let's start with that. Because
in a good way, I think.
I would say definitely in a good way.
in a good way, yes. Because I think there were lots of years when several people told me, oh, you should open your agency or you should do your own thing. And I'm like, no. I just didn't see myself doing myself. It's weird now that I'm in it. It feels like the most logical thing, but I didn't feel like that. Maybe I wasn't ready. Maybe other things had to happen first for me to appreciate my new journey. So I think I surprised myself actually how much I love doing this on my own and being an entrepreneur and launching things and stuff. So I think, the surprise is what I learned, that I always knew I'm resilient and optimistic and passionate about things. That didn't change my nature then. But I think I learned to live without a monthly salary as people were talking yesterday at the panel. So that's obviously a big change. And I thought the sort of volatile world of when you are an entrepreneur is not so scary. I kind of, it is scary, but I also know how to deal with it. It doesn't give me anxiety. I think bad energy, bad people, stress at work gives me a lot more anxiety.
It costs more.
It costs
unreliable
more
salary
on the mental health.
Yes.
Than working with wonderful people and believing in what you do and having a purpose and thinking, well, no, this is what I want to do. I see I'm making even a small difference, but I'm making a difference.
A huge difference. Yeah.
Then it makes it all okay. I don't know how to explain it otherwise, but I think I learned that from me, that I was looking for something more meaningful.
Right.
And now that I found it, all the other things figure outable.
They're figure out. Yes. So you can live. We talked about this in another episode where, fear will come.
Yes.
Anytime you move into anything new, right? It's guaranteed almost. Yeah. We move into uncertainty, and there's parts of our brains that are just designed to protect us, right? Yes. And to watch out for us and, make us more cautious in certain ways. And I think what I hear when you talk about your journey, it's this part of you that, knew that it was scary and that you were moving into this uncertainty, particularly around money, for example, but that your passion and your desire to create this change just allowed you to hold those two things together at the same time. So the fear didn't go away, but part of you stepped forward anyway.
Yes, correct. That's exactly what it is. Just because the purpose or the passion was bigger than the fear. So
how did you get to that point?
It actually came natural, actually. And I think it happens also going back to who you surround yourself with, right? You need your cheerleaders, you need your allies. It can be somebody very close, like in my case, it's also my mom. She's my biggest cheerleader. And no matter what happens, she's like, it'll be fine. It'll be absolutely fine. You can do anything.
What a wonderful role model for you.
Yes. And I made a
confident voice.
She's a very confident voice. Like others, like, oh my God, what if you don't, what can happen? No. She's like, you go for it. Wow. All will be fine. You always fall. You're like a cat, always fall on your feet.
Imagine having that type of talk to support you. Like, it shows the power. Yeah.
It does. So then, I didn't have anything at home or anything. And I took a risk as well because I'm a single mom. My son is like, and it felt like, wow, okay, I'm just going to go into this new uncertain. But then I thought, what, everybody just needs to get on board with it. And they did.
They did.
And they did. They were incredibly supportive. So I think that helps if you have got that kind of foundation, etc. I was never really scared. I lived in so many different countries. Change is something I thrive on in general. Yeah. It's something that, if anything, I always needed in my life. And being many years in one city here almost felt like,
boring almost.
Where's the new challenge? Right. What am I going to do? What am I going to achieve? So at least within, I changed completely paths. So then I I get adrenaline from it. I get excited. I feel alive, and so I think it's that. And then your people, women that keep inspiring you, and they're also doing the same thing, and you share. And I think that's really
constant reinforcement almost.
Yes.
This constant, recognition that you're on the right path and that you're doing whatever it is that lights you up. And you just keep meeting people that confirm that for you over and over again.
Yes. But then that's almost what happens, right? You attract more and more of the good stuff because you give it out.
You give it out.
You give it out.
I believe that.
Yes.
Very much.
And then again, snowball effect, 1, 2, and then there's another one, there's another one.
Yes.
Like look at last night,
And
right?
look
Like all the
at
connectivity.
last night. Exactly.
Yeah.
If people listening are new to you and to 16 Days, 16 Films, where can we direct them to learn more, to potentially explore, supporting you? I know you mentioned funding is very important. What would you tell them, and how can they help and support this really important cause?
Of course, once obviously you can read more about 16 Days, 16 Films on our website. So it's 16days16films.com. It's got all the information, all the background, all the stories on the films that will
number
go like
16?
stuff. Yes, number 16.
Okay. We'll put in our show notes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Obviously on our socials. Again, it's at 16 Days, 16 Films on Instagram to follow us. I think if you follow us, if you look up, if you can think of obviously, if you think of anybody that could be a great connection for us, who would be interested to support or help or partner, I think magic also happens then. But other than that, we are just happy when you follow us, when you watch a film, when it comes out, when you talk with one other person about it, and start spreading the love.
The love. Oh, that's beautiful.
Well, thank you so much for today.
welcome.
Honestly, you're such a magical person. You emanate such wonderful energy, and everyone last night was like, "Oh my gosh, she glows!" Like you really are such a wonderful person.
And you're doing such important work. And we're just so grateful to have you here.
You're so inspiring.
Oh, you're very sweet.
But it is, and even beyond the incredibly important work that you're doing, I think just unpacking your journey and your fearlessness and the way that you were able, actually, I will correct myself. It's not fearlessness because the fear was there.
Yes.
It was that you were able to tolerate the discomfort of the fear and move forward anyway, which I think is incredibly inspiring.
Yeah.
Very inspiring.
And there are still moments.
Of course.
It's like,
yeah.
it's a constant, right? Because every year it's all like, oh, where's the funding come? Oh, where's it like? And you get like, how are we going to do this? How are we going to do this? So there is, and there are moments you feel discouraged and it feels challenging. But then we have this strong community, right? And where they make us, they're such supporters and cheerleaders, and they say such wonderful things to us then as well, like, keep going, this is amazing, this is so important. They feel seen, right? Their causes seem seen, they feel we're trying to do something. So I think that keeps you going, It's we're not some capitalist kind of like trying to throw in some merchandise, use this merchandise on somebody. We're really trying to do something good. So when you find that support, it encourages you. You keep going. So you have the day you're like, oh, this is really hard. And then you're like, but this is important.
It's worth it.
So let's keep going.
Yeah.
And again, that flexibility, as we know, change of working in the way you want to like working.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's a game changer,
Huge.
right?
To honor your own way of working and be able to rest when you need to rest.
Exactly.
And step it up when you want to step it up. And that flexibility.
Because it doesn't feel like work.
Right.
No.
When once you find what
Your
it is that you
purpose.
feel important, it actually does not feel. Some people ask me like, I will then do, it could be on a Monday morning you have something else, but then on a Saturday night you feel like doing on a project. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't feel like a chore or anything like this. It just comes very natural because that's what makes you happy, right?
Yeah. Oh, what a way to to end this fabulous conversation.
Thank you.
Thank you for being with us and for allowing us to learn more about you. And
and thank you. I'm wishing you all the best. I mean, the girls are going to do amazing. I have no doubt.
Well, we have our tribe. You know, we keep building.
Yes,
it. We've got our.
I felt the tribe last night.
Yes.
It's wonderful. You're very lucky.
Yes.
So you know.
Thank you. Well, you're part of it now.
Yes.
Yeah.
So maybe
Guys,
this time next year we'll be, circling back.
Oh my God. Yes.
All the things.
Thank you so much for spending time with us today and for joining us and for bringing your curiosity and sense of possibility to this space. If you would like to continue hearing from us and keep listening to this podcast, please subscribe. And we would also really appreciate a rating. And we will put all the details in the show notes. You can find out where to follow us, where to connect with us, and where to learn more. Thank you so much.